Okay. I mean, we could swim back this way, though I don't really think we are looking to do that. There is this question mark over here on this peninsula. I imagine we'll go there on a future occasion, though. So let's head back the way we came. And, so now we're looking at what we want to do next. And the question is, do we go for a round of Gwent, or are we up? Are we up for going for a little bit more of the main quest? Because we're expecting that if we do go that route, then there's going to be a reasonable amount for us to do. So we don't want to bite off more than we can chew at the moment. Drunken Master? Ah, fistfights? Is this where the fistfights are? Is there a bookie here? You? You. You! You. You're the one who sets us up, right? If there is one somewhere, which usually there is, then I can't say I see where he is. Does happen on occasion. Sometimes they're quite good at hiding. But perhaps we just ignore them. Oh, this is the master of the finale. Okay, so we don't go to him yet. Gotcha. Okay, so... Let's see. Trying to think if there's anything relatively minor that we could still do here. Maybe what we do is we play a round of Gwent, and then we just finish, where was it? The one where we have the lunch picnic. Because that seems like, collectively, it's a bit, not a ton. That might be just the right amount for what we're looking to do here. Where'd that one go, though? That was... I have probably gone over it numerous times, and my eyes are just glossing over. Portrait of the Witcher as an Old Man does almost sound like the one that we were doing, because, well... there is a painting component to it. He was taking the pictures, but then he said he was taking the pictures so that he could then make the paintings. Yeah, where'd it go? I don't know. I think main quests are the Wine Wars one. The Deus and the Machina. I did not realize it was a Deus Ex reference until just now. I'm not sure I read the quest name in its entirety until just then. Do we feel like... Yeah, maybe we give this a go. Okay. Oh, the other thing. The other thing we could do, and we've made comments of thinking about doing it for a long time, but have yet to actually make it happen, was that we were saying we wanted to redo our skill tree and mess with some mutagens. And that might be good for us to finally make happen here. Because, yeah, I mean, we have leveled up on a few occasions recently, and we have 3 skill points available, so we definitely have skill points to spare here, or at least the levels that we are gaining right now are not benefiting us at all at the moment. So, or at least very little, other than giving us, you know, the additional access to gear and whatnot. But from a skill tree standpoint, Additional levels are not really helping us right now because we have all the stuff we're looking to have at the moment. So, why not do that, I say? That might be a good thing for us to think about doing here. And I know one of the people in the middle of the city did have the potion that allows us to reset our skill points. Thought it might have even been the Grandmaster armor dude, but I might be wrong about that. Hold on. There's also a random tradesperson here. Chances of them having it, who knows? Also, you're lower. You are down here. You're the butcher. You might be the other person we can play it with. Also, interesting voice / accent.
Fine. Show me what you got.
Alright, there's next to no chance this guy has what we're looking for here. Presumably it's all meat. Yeah. We could sell meat to you, sure. Food in general. But, it's not really the thing we're looking for. Let's sell almost all of our olives. Because, why not? I don't know. It's not really... We're going to save the Gwent here, I think. Unless... Nah, we'll go for it. We'll go for it after all. We'll go Gwent, and then we'll try to find the person who can give us the skill tree resetting potion.
No, you're busy, but you up for a round of Gwent?
What is this guy saying? Okay, so last time, what did we get? We got the Scorch card. One that can self-scorch if it's the highest unit out there. The pirate here. So, I'm interested in trying this out. Let's play as Skellige here. Arguably more than anything else, I'd love to get another Skellige leader ability, because I'm not a huge fan of either of these. I mean, the King Bran one is potentially helpful. Nice backup plan to have. Or, well, it's nice, nice way to mitigate the potential effects of them destroying one of our rows with a powerful nerf. Let's see what we have here. We have Scorch and Martyrdom, and we do have double Young Berserkers, so that is very potent in the range row. So I like that. Dandelion with double melee units. We have enough melee units for that to work. Not really. We have tight bonds. We don't have their pair. I think we get rid of the Shield Maiden, and that way, if we do happen to get Ceres, that'd be fantastic. Got Mysterious Elf. That does help, for sure. Then, in Dandelion, like, double Warrior, and that's it. That's it. So I think Dandelion, we kind of do need to get rid of you, otherwise we're at risk. Well, then what? Dandelion, the moment he's worth 8 strength, whereas you're worth 6. But if we swap you out and get something that isn't in the range row, then suddenly Dandelion is just a 2. But I think that does mean we're swapping out Dandelion. And we got Siege. Siege type bond that doesn't have its pair. That does mean that our Mysterious Elf is going to be important. Okay, so they do have the Young Berserker as well. Do they have 2 Young Berserkers, though? That's perhaps the real question. I mean, it's only 2 strength, but we know that if they have Martyrdom, it will get pretty big. So, could even make the case that a Scorch here is not bad. Although I think this is probably one of those situations in which, yes, Mysterious Elf this early is fine, because we don't have any musters right now, and we would love if we could get a second tight bond of some variety. That way we can be sure that we play them together. There are no other Skellige leaders. Yeah, given how usually what happens is we see the other ones and they're just grayed out or they say locked. We don't see any here. That seemed like that was probably going to be the case. And I mean, Skellige does seem like it's pretty darn strong. So if you gave a bunch of options for different leaders, then it could get stronger still, which would perhaps become quite unbalanced. So that's maybe fair. what did we get? We got the cow. That's definitely something we're happy to get in round 1. And we got another one of the type bonds here. They do. Oh, they do have 2 berserkers here, just like we do. I mean, gotta take this opportunity to scorch, right? They're only 2 strength now, but I think we have to act on the assumption that they have a martyrdom. Turn them into, what are they, like 7 strength apiece, and they have type bonds. They would both transform and double each other, so it'd be 14 apiece. So may not look that threatening right now, but they will definitely become threatening later on. So I think we do it. And that was how they were going to set it up. Okay. So we did it at just the right time. Let's play the cow. And I'm wondering if they might pass soon. So we put up 0 points here. Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty simple. That means play Hjalmar and win, basically. Let's do it. So we do that. We win round 1. We'll get the carryover value from the cow, turning into the bovine defense force. And then I think we go all out in round 2 here, because we don't have any cards that are going to benefit from coming back on the playing field in round 3, whereas they do. They do. So why give them that extra advantage? I mean, we would, I guess, eventually get the... We would end up getting the bovine defense force, so that's something. But we have an advantage here. So I say we try to seize, or capitalize on that advantage. So even Yennefer, the medic. Did we always have Yennefer? Did we draw into her with the... You one of the ones we got with the Mystere Self? We could even Yennefer into the cow in order to set ourselves up for round 3 just in case. I think Yennefer is probably more than anything going to be a backup plan in case something does get scorched. So let's start small here. This gives what? Plus? Oh no, this is not the one that gives +1. That means the melee. So this bovine defense force would still be a scorched target. Or, yes, I was thinking card itself, but the dragon does also do the same thing. So yeah, we'll likely bring that card back with Yennefer. As for whether you have more of those types of cards, that remains to be seen. Let's play one of the young berserkers, but let's wait to transform them. Okay, you have 1 Shield Maiden. Trying to avoid playing multiple 6 strength cards simultaneously. That way, if they do have another Scorch, they can't just remove all of our cards. I'll tell you what we could do. If we do expect for this to actually go to round 3, then I think we save Yennefer for round 3, because being able to get a medic out of that would be helpful. So maybe she's our last resort. And but I think we definitely would like to get these 2 down here, and eventually we will, of course, use Martyrdom. Okay, this is dangerous. They're Mysterious Elf. Because we had card advantage until they did that. There's nothing we can do to stop them, of course. Now, well, actually, 6 strength is safe from Scorches right now. So playing at least one of you is okay. Like I said, I am kind of planning on going all out here in round 2. So I'm reluctant to play this right now, because that would mean it would become the highest unit out there, or they both would. They'd be 12 apiece, and that'd be a pretty huge Scorch target. Let's play Geralt instead. Okay. That's a muster. We do have, I believe, all of them. Still in the lead here. We've not yet triggered our martyrdom. But it's either that or it's the longship. I think the longships are a little bit weaker than the converted young berserkers, if I'm not mistaken, but we've only, I think, converted them once, so don't remember exactly what their strength is. I think it's 7. Yeah, the berserkers would still return for round 3. Or, well, they could return now that we've played them. So yeah, there's that's not so much of a concern anymore. If it does go to round 3. In fact, if we played all of our cards in round 3, both of us played all of our cards in round, or rather, if both of us played all of our cards in round 2, and then our faction ability triggers in round 3, that would be kind of hilarious just to see who randomly gets the highest strength units out there. That'd be kind of fun, but maybe we don't take that risk unless we have to. So let's go with the War Longship now. They'll both get doubled up to 12, so this is what I was trying to avoid for as long as possible. If they have a Scorch, it's very effective right now, but they don't, at least not yet. And so now we do this, which is also no longer going to make the War Longships the targets, but I believe these guys are now going to be the targets. Oh, they're 8 apiece. Okay, so we have a lot of strength here. If they have a Scorch, we're toast. Ooh, do they have Martyrdom to convert that? Okay, so now I think we pass. We save Yennefer as our only round 3 card if we need her, because she is a medic, so she can give us another unit. And then, of course, we'll have our faction ability trigger, so we'll get 2 random cards out of our graveyard as well. So can they catch us? Scorch is definitely would be the answer, but they don't have it. So we definitely win in round 2. Take that. The rare 2-0 victory. Who needs round 3 anyway? Let's see, we get the crowns, sure. But as for cards, Skellige Storm, I do think we had that already. One of them. It's the weather effects in 2 rows. I forget which ones it is. Is it range and siege? Okay. So it is potentially potent, although not something that we've made a point of using yet. I feel like it's the kind of thing that very much requires that you use a specific type of deck, one that specifically plays in the melee row and nowhere else. Or you just make sure you're using King Bran, so that even if you do get nerfed, you're not getting nerfed very hard. No worries, no worries. Let's see. So I was thinking, can we make a point of... Actually, what time of day is it?
Tip of the hat to the tourney's victor.
It is 4:30 a.m. So it's not noon yet. In theory, we might have some time to track down that salesperson who hopefully, yeah, can give us that skill point resetting potion. I do think that would be helpful. Just now seems like a decent time to do it because, you know, really should do it as soon as we can, right? And we've been postponing it for quite a while. We've been delaying.
Patrolling on an empty stomach. Oh, dreadful.
So, who can actually give us potion question? That is the question.
Know how to whistle. Just put your lips together and explode.
Also, how do we get back into the city proper? Not up here, I can tell you that much. Or here, for that matter, unless... So you're saying there's a chance. Can we go in that building? It looked kind of like we could. Anyways, now that we've parkoured our way into the city again, let us find the shopkeeper in question and finally get the chance to put those skill points to good use. So there may be numerous people who can sell us this item. Might even be worth checking with this herbalist. Have we met you before?
Whoa! A witch!
Maybe not.
A serious client at last. Tell me, what do you need? Honeysuckle, Ganesha petals?
We got plenty of those. Yeah, we've not met you before.
How's business?
The coin is good, but Just between us, I'm going batty with boredom. I know what my customers want before they open their mouths. Boltmen, birch sap. Ladies of all walks, whatever fragrance Duchess Henrietta prefers at the time. If just once somebody would order some poison, eh?
Excuse me? Is that a
Show me what you've got
dare?
in stock.
Challenge accepted? Question mark? Potion of clearance. Well, this is the item we're looking for. Yes. Then potion of restoration. Ah, right. These are two separate things. Okay. What are these down here? Ah, okay. Do we think we already have? I mean, again, I've said it many times, but every time we get one of these, I think to myself, surely we already have them all, don't we? So I'm hesitant to throw a bunch of money at getting formulas that we might already have, unless I think we may have come across a similar situation to this a long time ago when I was asking, is it even possible to buy formulas that you don't have, or do they only show up if you don't have them yet? We probably don't need them anyway? Okay. Unless we're looking for a specific one. I don't think so. Let's buy one of these. That's what we're looking for. Oh, we already had one. Alright, well now we have an extra one in case we need another. We didn't need to go here at all.
Need to get going.
We could have done it at any
Next time.
time. Now I'm imagining some person in YouTube comments like a month from now saying, "Yes, Lids, we've been telling you that for the past month." Sorry, there's a month long backlog. Okay, so let's use it wherever it's hiding. Speaking of which, where is it hiding? Is it under the potions category? Is it under food? Does it qualify as one of these? And if so, then that probably explains why we didn't really pay much attention to it before. Okay, so if we do this, I think. Let us consume. All spent ability points have been returned and placed into the available pool. So, that means... Oh, man. So, well, we do need to come up with a plan here. And that is a little tricky. But to come up with on the fly. But we do, of course, have far more experience now than we had back in the day. So I think what we do here is we probably prioritize, first and foremost, trying to get these mutagens up and running. We will potentially need to create more of the greater mutagens of some varieties, but I think we'll cross that bridge once we come to it. So, we have signs can deal critical hits. Their critical hit chance and damage increase with sign intensity. And if we wanted to, of course, until 30 seconds ago, we were primarily a combat-oriented build. If we wanted to, we could suddenly go all out on signs or all out on alchemy. I think alchemy is probably not going to happen. I know that in theory there are some really strong alchemy builds out there that you can use to just like cheese the game, but that's not really what we're going for here. So I think we will probably still be primarily combat oriented, but you know, we split ourselves fairly evenly between combat and signs, and that's probably what we'll continue to do here. Which is hopefully optimized a little bit better this time. So yeah, sword attacks deal 25% more damage to human opponents immune to counterattacks and monsters. In all of the cases, if the attacker's vitality is less than 25%, a counterattack immediately triggers a finisher. Sure. Let's research mutagen. We have also achieved weapon W, apparently. Okay, oh, and then we have to separately activate it? Ah, only one mutagen can be active at a given time. I see. The strengthened synapses mutation improves automatically when you develop other mutations. As it does, it unlocks additional ability slots. Huh? Okay. Press B to return to character panel. It's improved by researching mutagens. Each stage unlocks an additional ability slot. So basically, if we research another one, then we can use two simultaneously. Is that the idea? At the moment, we're only capable of doing one. Bloodbath. Each fatal blow dealt by a sword dismembers the enemy or activates a finisher. Each blow dealt by a weapon in melee combat increases attack power by 5% until combat ends, up to a maximum of 250%. That sounds insanely good. The bonus is lost if you take damage, not including from toxicity. So that is a little tough. So I don't think we're going to be getting up to 250 anytime soon. And by anytime soon, I mean ever. But, you know, even just getting 10, 15, certainly 20% or more damage boost, that is a lot. And if you think about how much of a difference things like adding oils to our weapons makes, or making sure we go to the whetstone and what have you, upgrading weapons, very rarely are we getting much more than 20. I mean, oils are 50, but oils are just huge, right? So, yeah, I think we take this. No worries. Let's take that. Let's see. At the start of combat. Wait, so now, improved by researching mutations, each stage unlocks an ability slot. Ability slots unlocked one number. Excuse me. You said we were supposed to unlock an additional slot now? Yeah, so we do still need to choose. I thought you were just telling me that unlocking an additional mutagen would give us an additional slot. Now you tell me that we need 4? I feel misled. But I think of these, I probably do still prefer... Also, I'd love if you would stop giving me the same prompt every time we take one of these. I think I do prefer Bloodbath. Crossbow damage? No. You lost me already. Say no more. At start of combat, sword attack power and side intensity increase for 30 seconds by 30% for each foe after the first. So when fighting 11 foes, bonus is ginormous. Once it wears off, sword attack power and side intensity drop by 10% for each participating foe after the first. So basically, get increasingly powerful, and then you get weaker. So there's like this timing aspect of you want to be focusing on dealing all the damage when you're at your peak adrenaline rush form, and then you want to be not doing that when you're not. Otherwise, you're actually doing worse. Out of curiosity, what's here? When vitality reaches 0, you become temporarily invulnerable and regenerate 100% vitality. This effect can only be triggered once every 3 minutes. It is quite literally a second life. That does sound pretty amazing. What is this one up here? Applying critical effects to opponents activates a random decoction for 20 seconds, or no, for 120 seconds, with no toxicity cost. We have a lot of crits, so that does sound kind of nifty. Maximum number of decoctions that can be activated simultaneously by the mutation is 3, which your senses help you see better in dark places as well. I mean, both of these ones that are kind of off in the corner seem amazingly good. How much do these cost to make? Oh, that requires this as well. Do it. It's not a coincidence that that's hard to get to. It's because, well, it's really good and it requires a lot. Each adrenaline point decreases damage received by 15%. That could also be extremely powerful. And there are some really good ones out here. Hard can freeze opponents. This also seems like it could be very good. I mean, all these things look good. When drawn, magic, or almost all these things. One notable exception. What was the bottom left one, though, if it'll let me get down there? When drawn, magic, unique, and Witcher swords increase sign in damage dealt by 50% of their own damage dealt. So the power of our swords increases the power of our signs. Is nice. Probably adds up to a lot, to tell you the truth. But I do really like the crits triggering stuff because we are focusing on crits. That is a nice synergistic effect. And then the second life seems kind of gimmicky. Like, it seems really powerful, but at the same time, like, do we want to be relying on that kind of crutch? I'm not sure we do. So maybe we deliberately try to make our way up to Metamorphosis. If we can afford to do that, because it will cost a lot of ability points. As we were saying before, it's we had more we had more abilities than we had slots to use those abilities. That may mean that we're doing okay for those going forward. What was this one? Each point toxicity increases damage dealt. I mean, we're probably not going to take much advantage of that, because, again, I don't think we're going to be focusing on pushing too hard on the alchemy side of things, even though it theoretically is possible now that we've reset our skill tree. It's just not really the approach that I'm all that interested in taking. We do need to create more of the greater mutagens. Okay, see what mutation is currently active. Open the mutation panel. Strengthen synapses. Mutation improves automatically when you develop other mutagens. As it does, unlocks additional ability slots. Now we have an extra spot. Okay, gotcha. Oh! Color of the ability you activate in this slot must match the color of the active mutation. Advanced mutations distinguished by their yellow color require multiple types of mutagens, but allow you to use abilities from combat signs or alchemy groups. Okay, I was wondering if those were just like, no, these ones are so powerful that we don't want you to combine them with anything else, because otherwise they'd be game-breakingly potent. But that does not appear to be the case. In fact, it is just the opposite. You can combine them with almost anything. So let's go to alchemy real quick here. And we should... I think we have enough blue mutagens. Just guessing. Yeah, that's what it said, but for a minute there, it looked like it was telling us that, it told us we were getting more slots, but then when I tried to activate multiple simultaneously, it didn't let me, so I was like, did you just lie to me? Okay, so we can make more of those if we need to. We have no shortage of supply. Then... Huh? Oh, that's new. Other ways to make the green mutagens from scratch? Or that's conversion. I thought it was just quite simply you use blue mutagens and it's a direct translation from blue mutagens into green or what have you. But we have more than enough. Greens as well. I mean, blue I think is definitely the most common. Red is the least common. But green is still looking like that's going to be in good shape. And this is one of the ones that we actually had a shortage of. So I think it is going to be helpful for us to do at least a little bit of this. And then... Now... Oh, okay, this is, again, an alternative way to make the greater greens, but this is what we're looking for. Yeah, it's a little bit confusing when you see the same item showing up twice, and you're like, do you not have the materials to make this? But we do. Okay. The green should be good now. Now, the question is red. And red is the one that I'm potentially the most concerned about. Okay, we do still have 37, which is not a ton of the lessers, because, of course, by the time you go from lesser all the way up to greater, you do lose a lot in translation. It's, what, 9 to 1? 9 lessers equals 1 greater? And speaking of greater... Up here? Okay. Make 3 with the amount that we've set up thus far. Is that enough? I don't remember how many it was going to cost us to do this. Oh, hold on. This. So we need this. Oh, okay, that one we definitely do want to make, just so we can get to this, and we don't even know what the price is of this yet. Let's go here. And now we are getting... Oh, the Strength and Synapses mutation has advanced to the next level. I thought it did that previously, but okay. I think you're a little bit behind the curve here. Press speed to return to the character panel. I will perhaps later. Yeah, see, again, like, feels a little strange when I'm pretty sure that happened previously. Okay, so we do need one more red if we want to get to this one, which I think we do. That's the one that I'm most keen on adding. And we are going very heavy on these mutagens here, but I think, you know, they're really powerful, and that's part of the reason why we did this, so it's fine on this occasion. And worst comes to worst, we'll have other things that we're looking to pick up in the normal skill tree, and it'll take us a few levels before we can get them. And yeah, I mean, that gives more meaning to the leveling process in that case, which is something that was missing for a little while, so I think that's probably welcome. Okay, so we need at least enough for one more giant. Should mean we now have the ingredients for this. I think that was all we needed. Now we go up here. Yes, it is, but man, it costs 7 ability points. Wow. Okay, so we have this, and that is definitely the one that we would like to activate. Applying critical effects to opponents activates a random decoction for 2 minutes with no toxicity costs, and that can happen 3 times. So we just crit, and we're going to get random bonuses, so it's going to be a little bit hard to keep track of all that stuff. I'm kind of just hoping that for the most part it's, you know, random bonuses. Sometimes they're going to be relevant. Sometimes they're going to be extremely relevant and we're going to love it. Sometimes they're going to be not so relevant and we'll just go like, oh, okay, well, okay, apparently we can breathe underwater for longer, even though we're just fighting a bunch of people in the middle of a desert right now. Sure. But, other than that, we can activate one more, right? And I think Bloodbath is probably the answer. Getting the additional damage the longer the fight goes, as long as we, well, to the extent that we can avoid getting hit. Okay, but it does, see, like, it takes away one of them. So, like, oh, so we just activate that there, and then what? Hold on. And how do we place... Oh, I see. I see. So it's not that you can have numerous of these mutagen, or these, I forget, is mutation technically? Yeah, mutation is the correct term here. I thought that by unlocking those additional slots, we were able to select numerous mutations simultaneously. No, that unlocks more skill points, or slots for skill points. But not the mutation. Still only one mutation. That's never going to change. Okay, now I got it. So then we're back to the normal skill tree, and if we are going with just one, then I think we'll probably stick with Metamorphosis, but maybe we'll swap to Bloodbath every now and again if we feel like it. So I think we definitely do want some combat stuffs. The quick attacks has generally been our go-to. We could change it here if we wanted to, but I did like that. So I think, well, actually, maybe we just like take a second here to just make sure we pick up the essentials. Namely, we might be able to pass on strong back. I don't think we've ever used, or we haven't used that for possibly not quite a year, but almost a year. Feels like it's been a very long time. So, oh, and also I remember recently eyeing these. Each piece of light equipment increases critical hit damage and fast attack damage. That could be good, because we're expecting to eventually use or go back to using light armor. I mean, at the moment we're on medium, but that could be relevant at some point in time because that will add up to a lot of damage. But for now, I think we're looking to... Oh, well, the reason why I went over here to begin with was mostly gourmet. Wherever you went, there you are. Let's definitely pick this up. That's pretty much an essential. Was there anything else here that we really want? The maximum vitality is another one that we got early on. It's helpful for the survivability early on, but I don't think we had it active recently. I think we dumped that a while ago. But I think we're good there. And we did nothing on alchemy, though that might change a little bit. If we can find anything that will work along with metamorphosis, that might be interesting. Just to make that passive bonus a little bit more potent. But I think on these skills now, I would like to make sure we can get back up to Whirl. And then we could deliberately avoid the sign tree altogether and just rush for Flood of Anger and use that to sort of circumvent the sign tree. Because that was an intriguing thought that we considered, but we said, well, it would have required that we planned to do that from the beginning, and we hadn't. So that might be worth considering here. Curiosity, how many? It takes 30 to get to the bottom row here, and we're at 46 remaining. Just trying to gauge like just how many skill points did we end up spending on all those mutagens. But let's definitely go with the quick attacks. I think we'll need to fully level this up. We'll start getting closer. Getting here. What's the first one here? Adrenaline point on taking damage is lowered. No, we definitely went for the strong attacks here. Start unlocking the next row, which I think we will do. Then here, Precise Blows has been, in many ways, the centerpiece of our strategy. That's true. That is true. Axie is definitely essential. Let's make sure we get that before we potentially run out of points here. We definitely need this at level 3. Very good point. Don't forget about that. Okay, how many do we need to get to this? We need 7 more. What else did we end up putting here? Is this Undying? This is Undying. We did level this up numerous times previously, which was actually not something that we liked. We actually kind of preferred it, I think, at level 1. So I think we go level 1 here. How many more is it now? We need 6. That means like fully upgrading something and then putting 1 extra point in something else. Easy answer would be Crushing Blows and Strength Training, even though I don't love them. What if we went a little more in the defensive route? I don't think I'm gonna ever... I don't see myself ever making a point of deflecting arrows, but we do dodge a lot. And dodge roll and what have you. And on occasion, we do still get hit when we're in the dodging, or I don't know if this includes both the like sidestep dodge and the dodge roll, because we definitely do a combination of those both. But and the dodge roll animation takes a lot longer. It's also the one that has you walking further away. But like, if we could, you fully upgrade this, do you just flat out take 0 damage when in that animation? Do you just have invincibility frames, the iframes, the entire time? Because that would be pretty nifty. Don't know if we'd activate it, just because obviously it's purely defensive, not offensive. But if we're not ever planning on activating Crushing Blows either, then worth giving it a shot. Yeah, air deflection seems also like, how much damage is it? Like, is this even going to be any sort of reliable damage with it? Like, no way. No, thank you. I'm intrigued. Now that I look at fleet-footed here, I feel like there's something to be said for this. Like, I'm thinking of, for example, a while back when we were fighting the Kikimor warrior, where I was saying I was dodge rolling out of the way, and even then, it was still hitting me. It just had such a huge AoE. So in a situation like that, where even when you're trying to avoid getting hit, you still get hit and you still take a lot of damage, having fleet foot in that situation seems like that could be a pretty nice thing to have. Now, is that a niche enough situation that it's not worth equipping? That's a good question. I don't necessarily know the answer to it. It's one of those things where I feel like until you actually try it out, it's going to be hard to say. But we do need to invest more points in combat, so I think we give it a try here. And yeah, it does keep on scaling significantly. We need, what, 3 more here. So yeah, I think we'll try fully upgrading this. And then, probably would prefer crushing blows to strength training. Just to get the crits on our strong attacks if/whenever we do use them. If we need to throw a points somewhere, then I guess here. And now Whirl is active, or Whirl is available, I should say. We will definitely take. Remind me what this one was. Razor Focus. I don't remember if we took that. We might have thrown a point in that previously. That actually, if you fully level this up, oh, you can only do 3. I was going to say, that could become quite strong. So let's definitely fully upgrade Whirl. That's absolutely going to be one that we have active. And we want to get to this bottom row here. We need to invest 5 more points. And I was kind of intrigued because I thought Flood of Anger could be a cool option. Cool way to get many of the benefits out of the sign tree without actually having to invest in the signs. Which could be a nice way of saving some skill points and maybe being able to go more aggressively in combat for that reason, or introduce more of the alchemy tree that we just completely ignored previously. And if we are to throw in 5 points, what would it be? And we could do 4 more for crushing blows. And then Rend is also interesting. I don't really think we ever ended up using it much, if at all, but in theory would be a strong way to work strong attacks into our combos. Yeah, let's go for Rend. I think you're right. Okay, so now this last row is available to us. And I think previously we had Sunder Armor, and we had we were thinking about Flood of Anger. Now, what does this do with subsequent levels? When casting a sign, 3 adrenaline points, if any, will be consumed to upgrade sign to the highest level. Oh, and increase sign intensity by 25%. So that 25% probably goes up. I was going to say, like, you can't go higher than the highest level. So how does that improve as you put more levels into it? It's just your signs get stronger. So in many ways, that's sort of like making up for not only leveling up the signs, but also just the general sign intensity. So that does feel nifty. Thing is, if we go all out on Sunder Armor and Flood of Anger, then suddenly we only have 3 points remaining, which is not a lot. I mean, that being said, we do have we've circumvented, or we would have circumvented, many of the sign skills that we were looking to pick up if we do go with Flood of Anger. But it might mean that we may not have much, if anything, left for alchemy. Let's just take a quick look at alchemy. What would we theoretically look to add here, if anything? Increase potion overdose threshold. We're just relying on metamorphosis, and that's not relevant. We're not going to actually get toxified at all. Oils applied to blades give 3% chance of poisoning the target on each hit. Chances greater to higher level of oil used. I mean, we have only the highest level oils now. Is it better than 3%? If so, how much do we value that? I'm not sure. Steady aim, time slowed while aiming bombs now. Every known level 1 alchemy formula increases maximum toxicity. We have one. We do know a lot of formulae. That would become a lot, but again, we're not really looking to increase our maximum toxicity. Toxicity is above 0. Time automatically slows when an enemy is about to perform a counterattack. No. Okay, so at least in this first row, the only thing that looks potentially interesting would be Poison Blades. But that's largely because it does complement our melee attacks rather than our potions. So it almost feels like a combat skill, even though it's in the alchemy tree. And it looks like it may not even be until possibly the second row. Healing, vitality, that these start to become relevant. Like if we could gain vitality whenever we randomly imbibe a potion, and we randomly imbibe a potion whenever we deal crits, it means we heal 5% of our maximum HP whenever we crit. That would be pretty insane. That would be awesome. So in some ways, if we were to try to save up to get some higher level alchemy things, then that I feel like could be a solid target, because that would work very well as just sort of a passive thing that we have. We don't need to think too much about setting ourselves up on the alchemy side to make it happen. Action against attack from monster type, the oil targets. And again, the oils, I think, generally speaking, they complement the combat stuff well. Bombs, even those that usually do not inflict damage, now inflict damage. Plus 30 damage is nothing. When consumed mutagen concoction increases maximum vitality. That's a pass and one that would be relevant. Assuming that we likely would get mutagen decoctions fairly often when we do get those randomly triggering. Increases maximum vitality by 10% when toxicity exceeds safe threshold. I mean, that's not... No, again, we're not actually increasing toxicity. We're getting them for free. So yeah. Refreshment sounds good. And the oil stuff sounds like that could be useful. Maybe even tissue transformation. So there are some things in the alchemy tree that could help us out here. If we are deliberately trying to structure our whole setup around metamorphosis. Which I think is an interesting enough ability that it is worth trying to make that happen. So in that case, we won't be able to do all of that immediately, but it does give us a good target. So I think, well, why don't we, let's see, just how many points do we have for throwing in all of our combat skills that we are looking to add? So like we put in Whirl. We put in Precise Blows for sure. Probably going for Muscle Memory as well. That's all the fast attack stuff. Then, what was this one? This was like Bleed. And I doubt that scales well for just 25 damage. Then, possibly Rend. I think we do want Undying. Let's try Rend. And let's try getting in Fleet-Footed. Fleet-Footed and Rend are things we could theoretically drop. Definitely don't want... I mean, Crushing Blows and Strength Training, if we have the extra slots, then we'll put them in there. But otherwise, they're definitely lower priority. Although, given how many points we put into the mutagens, we actually may not have nearly enough stuff to fill all of our slots right now. So, tell you what, by the looks of things, I think we go pretty aggressively here and just load up on stuff. Because we may have more space than we know what to do with. In fact, we only have 2 remaining, add 2 remaining combat skills. So let's throw them in up here. And we'll just occupy that space with Gourmet. Because we don't have another one of the combat skills to complement it. Although Gourmet could actually... Can we put Gourmet in the middle? I don't think there's a mutagen that goes along with that, so that may not matter. But we absolutely do have additional spots here. In fact, we could, with our... Are we still 13? Oh, we haven't used... Okay, yeah, we haven't done this yet. So we were planning on using Thunder Armor and Flood of Anger. Means we definitely would replace Gourmet over there. Okay, fair enough. Let's do that. Because I think we definitely liked reducing people's armor. That's one of the things that we like doing with Igni as well, though, when... be hard with Flood of Anger, but we're gonna try. We're gonna try. We're going for it. little bit higher risk, higher reward, for sure. Especially for Flood of Anger. I mean, the other one we were just upgrading previously, definitely not as much so. But you go in here, replace Gourmet, just so we have the triple red stuff going on in that corner. And then now we're looking at not being able to get 100% of any given color in one of those sets. So the other thing I was thinking was just getting... what Quen upgrades did we have? Just having a reliable Quen is nice. Pushes opponents back when it breaks. Creates active shield. This one I did not particularly like. Sign Intensity, I think we did ultimately end up putting some Quen Sign Intensity on there relatively late on, and that was somewhat nice to have that. But I'm thinking maybe we use this opportunity to start investing in Poisoned Blades, and we will throw that on, and with the hope of eventually being able to use Refreshments and or Tissue Transformation and or Protective Coating. It's really, once we start getting to that second row, that we start to see some interesting stuff. Poison's Blades, I'm curious to see how this scales. So it is still... No, it goes up from 3 to 6% chance. Okay. That means what? It'll be 15? Oh, we're out of skill points, yeah. Once fully upgraded, it'll be 15% chance to poison, which is... that's significant. That starts getting significant. Okay. So, with that, and let's just put Gourmet back in, but we'll put you in... Oh? No. Wait, so what does go here? What goes in the middle? Huh? Why can't I select the middle? Huh? Ah, okay. That's I've found the loophole, and they thought of the loophole. They don't let you use the loophole. Gotcha. Okay, so let's, in that case... Where'd you go? Gourmet. And we'll just dump you, and then put you in the middle instead. There we go. Okay, I see. Yeah, because that's the green, blue, and red in the middle. So that makes some sense. So now let's actually put in the mutagens. Oh, which, come to think of it, we were using red mutagens, were we not? And didn't we have an alchemy recipe to turn these like mutagens that we got from random monsters into red mutagens in the case of all these ones with the red glow, and blue mutagens for these ones and green mutagens for these ones? Because we could use some reds right about now. We could definitely use some reds, especially since we have so many red abilities here. That's what we want right now. Do we have... or do we need to go to our, house to do that stuff? Is that what I'm thinking of, where we got that ability? Yeah, at Corvo Bianco? Okay. I think that is worth doing. Given all the respecting that we just did. We are very combat heavy at the moment, and so we very much do want to make sure that we're getting those red mutagens in there, and good red mutagens at that. Okay, so we actually... this way. Where we want to go. Yeah, so I'll be interested to try this one out. Because it is definitely... the signs, in particular, I think are going to feel very, very different. Or at least, I would think so. So I was definitely making a point of using Igni as early as possible in fights to try to reduce enemies' armor, and then focusing on going more so with the melee attacks. But without that guaranteed, that might not be as reliable of a strategy. Where was it exactly? In here? Yes. Okay. So Does this cost us anything, or do we just do it and it no like downside to it? Like, why not just convert everything? I guess there are some potions that require that you have some of these mutagens, like, don't convert all of them just in case. Maybe we'll save a couple for that reason. Water hags, those are fairly common. Wyverns, save a couple of those, I guess. Attican, once upon a time we fought a bazillion of those. Not as much anymore. But I mean, then again, I'm pretty sure we've made just about all the mutagens for these enemies, because they were all in the base game, and so we've been there, done that. It's just the, I think the only one we have remaining is the Doppler. And we've not gotten the Doppler mutagen. It's not hanging out in our inventory right now, so I don't think there's any reason why we would need to save any red mutagens here. What is the 89 one? It's Wraith? Have fought a lot of Wraiths. I was thinking it was maybe Neckers, although Neckers tend to drop just the blues or greens, not a Necker-specific mutagen. Yeah, so I think we'll just... I think we're safe to just convert all these. It's the red ones that are most desirable right now, because we are definitely... We're the shortest on them, and we also need them the most right now. So, like, if we just... Now look at our alchemy. Now we should suddenly have a lot more materials to do lesser, but again, it scares me when we see the ones redded out. It's like, what? We just made all these things. So we can make 10. Means that'll be enough for 3 greater mutagens, which is sort of just enough. Sort of. Because... Oh, hold on. To convert the raiders, though. Because we have 3 spots that absolutely should be red. And we have 1 spot that is kind of a, take your pick. It could be anything type of situation. Like, this one should be red. Red should also go here. And red should also go there. And then that bottom right one could be either red or blue. But even throw the green one over there and make it a green. Green is what? Vitality? Vitality. We didn't opt to use the bonus vitality mutagen. Or rather, no, master or skill. Like we at least took that skill early on in our first skill tree, but like I said, I think we did ultimately take it out. But maybe throwing in a green mutagen might be kind of nice to counteract that in a certain way. 150 doesn't sound like a lot, but maybe that's good enough to be somewhat helpful. And especially because it will actually get higher than that if we have a green skill next to it, right? Maybe that's worth doing. We just take you... Where'd you go? Out. And I put you back here, and we'll, I guess, move Axie into the middle. We're not expecting to use any blue mutagens here. So then we go and we put a greater green one out here. And when it has the little bit of a... Whoa! It gets doubled up to 300. I mean, that's... Okay. That's something. That is something. And so we have room for at least one more ability here. Not to mention that, well, like Crushing Blows, we could definitely take that out. Strength and Training, we could definitely take out as well. So we have ones we'd be willing to sacrifice. if necessary. Alright, and there we have it. I believe we have now officially remade Geralt. He's a new man. Take a look at him. Nice and close. And, well, thing is, no idea how that's actually going to work out for us. We did take some risky moves there. In particular, basically gutting our sign tree. All we have guaranteed is Axie, for primarily the dialogue options. But otherwise, we're relying almost exclusively on loading up on the adrenaline points and then hoping that that is enough, that we can spend all adrenaline points to get to a fully upgraded sign, and we'll see if that's reliable enough or if that turns out to just, well, backfire on us significantly. We also did add, for the first time ever, an alchemy skill, so that'll be interesting to see just how effective the poison is. What was the probability of it? We got, what, 3 of them? So it's a 9% chance, I think? Which is, yeah, 9%. And also some poison duration. I mean, if you think about some of the swords we've got in the past, poison's been pretty uncommon. If we even use, compared to one of the rune stones. 5% chance of poison on a greater rune stone. So it's like just about 2 greater rune stones. But eventually, if we fully upgrade it, it'll be 15 on the ability, and which would be the equivalent of 3 greater runestones, which makes sense. That would basically mean fully committing to poison on the runestones is the equivalent of fully committing on that one skill. So yeah, I'm intrigued to check that one out.